He hit my door in a march at 3 in the morning. Not random. Not drunk. Left, right, left, right. 8 beats. Pause. 8 beats. The chain lock pulled so hard the screws squealed. I saw the uniform through the peephole. Kevlar. Web gear. A helmet low over where a face should have been. I'm telling you, I saw it. Don't start with maybe it was a prank. He knew what he was doing. He moved like training. I know the difference. I stood with my hand on the deadbolt and told him to knock it off. My voice came out thin. He didn't speak. The dog tags hit the door in the same stupid rhythm, metal on wood. I smelled gun oil through the gap. I didn't call anyone. Who do you even call? Cops at 3 a.m.? For knocking? They don't come. The last time I called about a guy in the stairwell, they sent a kid who laughed at me. And I'm not crazy. I don't drink. I sleep light. I know what I saw. The chain stretched. The screws dug out a little. I pressed my shoulder to the door and counted because I couldn't not count. 8 and pause. The hall light flicked and hummed. There was this hiss, like radio static, coming from the hall vent. I could hear his breathing, only I don't know if he breathed. It was the weight of him, like he pushed against the whole frame with his chest. The tags kept time. Left, right, left, right. I told him again, get off my door. Nothing. He reset, like a drill. Another 8. Then it stopped. Clean stop. No slowdown. No shuffle. No joke voice yelling, gotcha. Just the smell of oil, and then it was gone. I flipped the chain and looked. I know I shouldn't. I know. The hall was empty. Muddy boot prints went from the stairwell to my door. Heels square, toes crisp. There were no prints going back. That's not an exaggeration. The hall carpet was flat, except for the line to my door. I stared until it looked wrong. I touched the mud with my finger. Wet. Thick. No one empties a bucket of mud in the hall at 3 in the morning without a sound. Don't tell me it was a kid. I stayed up. I made coffee. The static hissed in the wall for about an hour and then it was quiet. I put my knife on the table. I didn't call work. I went in because I don't give them excuses. On the way out, I saw the prints again. Same track. The super blamed me and made me clean it. I told him I didn't wear boots. He said I looked like I did. People have opinions when they don't have facts. I moved. I have a right to move if I want. I packed everything in 2 days. I paid the lease break and they can choke on it. I took the bus across town to a place with a deadbolt and a bar. It was top floor, corner unit, nothing under me but the laundry room. 2 locks. A peephole that didn't show fishbowl. It smelled like old paint and dryer lint. I slept with the window open the first night. I slept through. It was quiet. No tags. No oil. No marching. I ate cold noodles out of the pot and left the pot in the sink because I could. For a week it stayed calm. I went to work, came home, watched crap on my phone until my eyes hurt. I didn't think about it. I didn't. I bought a bag of oranges and left them on the counter. I walked past a surplus store every day and didn't even look in. If you're waiting for me to say I missed it, I didn't. I like calm. I know people think I try to find trouble. I don't. Saturday morning I stepped out and almost slipped. Mud again. 1 line of boot prints down my hall. Not from the stairs this time. From the roof stairwell door. No one uses that. The super keeps it chained. I went up and the chain hung open. Not broken. Unlatched. I put it back on even though it's not my job. When I came back down, there was a little square brown packet on my counter. I swear I had locked the door. I swear. I checked the latch marks later. No pry. No break. The packet was a field ration. The real kind. Brown plastic. Menu stamped black. I didn't put it there. Before you say I bought a prop, I didn't. I tore it open because I was hungry and because I wanted it to not be real, and it was chilly in a bag. It tasted like metal and salt. My sink smelled like it after I poured it out. For a while the place smelled like gun oil again. It got under my nails. I changed the locks. New deadbolt. New chain. I put a wood bar in the slider. I jammed a chair under the knob when I slept. I set my phone to record the hallway through the peephole. At 3 that night, my speaker woke me with static. Not music. Not street noise. A hard edge hiss that pulsed like breath. I looked through and saw nothing. I opened the door and there were prints again. Wet. Square. The chair I had under the knob was pushed an inch. That's not a hallucination. I didn't call anyone. Don't act like that makes me wrong. I did things. I changed how I slept. 2 hours on, 2 off, 2 on. I put out food. I don't know why. Don't say it. It felt like a thing I should do. I left the ration by the door, and in the morning it was gone. The wrapper was folded to a sharp square and tucked under the chain bracket like a note. No writing. Just tight. The dog tags, I could hear them sometimes, just past the door, clicking, like teeth. The cadence wasn't random. It was the same count every time. I read about it. I looked up an old base by the river that got closed. No, I don't have a dad who served. Shut up. That's everybody's go-to. I went to the library and looked up their old blotters. A training accident. They don't give names or counts. They give dates and incidents. That's not a lead. That's nothing. I asked the guy downstairs, the one who drinks on the bench. He wears a hat with a patch. He's not special. He just sits there. I said, "Did you hear anything at 3 a.m.? He squinted at me and asked what I was carrying my shoulders like that for. He said, "You're counting it." I told him to mind his own. He laughed like a cough. He said, "If you break cadence, you get hit." I told him that's stupid. He said, "Leave a pair of boots and a hot meal at the door and sleep on the odd numbers." I told him to go to hell. He asked me what my father's unit was. I don't have one. We went back and forth. He made me mad on purpose. I told him he was a drunk and he stood up fast. I left before he swung. I don't need to get arrested. I bought night vision goggles from the surplus store after that. Don't act like that's stupid. I took cash. I didn't keep a receipt. I sat in the dark with them on and watched my door until my eyes stung. The green glow made the paint look like a bruise. At 2:59, my radio, which wasn't on, made a sound like someone opened a mic somewhere. Blank. H, 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 H. Like someone puts a thumb on a button and lets go. My teeth hurt. At 3, exactly, something shifted behind the door. The bar moved and tapped the frame. Slow. 1, 2. 1, 2. He didn't kick. He didn't scratch. The lock turned like he had a key. I had replaced the lock 2 days ago. I watched the bolt slide in the night vision. An inch. Stop. An inch. Stop. Like he was doing a drill. The door eased open against the chain, and the chain took the weight. The helmet slid into view first. Dark. The shape you see in pictures. The tags hung and swayed and hit each other in that careful way. I looked up to where the eyes should be, and there was just smooth. I don't have a better word. It was like wet paper over nothing. If you think I'm the kind of person who makes up Faceless, I'm not. It was just wrong. He stood there with his hands up and palms flat, like he was showing me he didn't have a weapon, but his movements were exact, like he'd done them 1,000 times. I didn't breathe. He tilted his head like he was waiting for me to do something. I didn't. The tags clicked again. I heard steps behind him, even though I could see no one. A distant left-right that set my heart off. The radio hiss spiked and fell. He stayed. Then he pushed. Not wild. A hard shove on the count. The chain bracket groaned and a screw popped. I grabbed the chair and jammed it harder. He pushed again on 4. It wasn't random. 4, 8, 12. I matched the count without meaning to. I said 1 out loud. He stopped mid-press on 2 and pulled back. I swallowed and said 3, and he hit on 4 and then paused, like he expected something. I said 8 and he reset. My tongue felt thick. He left. When I opened up, there was mud on the floor in 2 steps. Straight. Square. The ration wrapper laid on the counter even though I had thrown it out. My sink smelled like oil again. I went and grabbed the trash and shook it. The empty was gone. I checked the window. The tags tapped the glass once. Not hard. Like a test. I sat down on the floor and laughed in a hard way that hurt. I don't know why. It's stupid to laugh when you can't breathe. I tried to stop it. I taped the chain. I screwed in bigger screws. I put a board across the door. It didn't matter. The radio hiss started on its own. The knob turned on the same time. The steps in the hall marched. 1, 2. 1, 2. The prints dried on my floor like dark hands. I put out food again. Canned soup. A plate. He didn't take the plate. He left a brown packet in my sink, like before. I threw it back into the hall. It was on my counter when I woke. I slept in shifts. It didn't help. At 3, the door would move and I would count. I counted to keep from making sound. It calmed him. That's not me giving in. That's me not dying. I went back to the library and checked the base records again, because you're going to say I didn't try. I tried. The accident was on a Monday. The clipping said an instructor died during a night exercise. No name. No picture. The leftover roster. It listed company numbers. I found a picture online of a memorial. The cadence they printed under it? The same 8 count. That's a coincidence. And I know you're going to say it's not, but it is. My hands shook so I couldn't scroll right. I went home and the tags were on my table in a little coil. Not how I left them. I didn't leave them. I never had tags. That's what I told myself until I grabbed them. They were dented on the edge in a way I knew already. I had seen that dent on my mother's keyring when I was little. I put them in a drawer when she left them with me. I sold them for cash once when I needed to eat. Don't look at me like that. You do what you do. The chain on my table was that same chain. The same dent. The letters were stamped shallow, not all lined up. The last name was mine. The first name was not. It was my father's. I don't talk about him because there's nothing to say. He stood too close when I was a kid and smelled like oil. That's all. He'd slap the table in a count when he was angry. He'd make me square my heels. He left early and didn't come back. I said that didn't matter, and it didn't, until the tags were there. I went downstairs with them to the vet on the bench and threw the chain at his shoes. I said, "You did this." He picked them up and put them around my neck. I hit him. He took the hit like he'd taken it before and said, "Don't take them off. He'll keep trying to put you in." I called him names that don't matter now. He said, "You already wear them." He said, "Sleep on the odds." Leave boots. Don't look at his face. I said he didn't have one. He smiled like that mattered. The last night started quiet. It does that. You think you're through it. It's a lie. I barricaded the door anyway. The radio was off. The lights were off. I put the goggles on my lap. I had boots by the door because I'm not stupid. Cheap work boots I got from a bin. I put the ration packet next to them. I did it because he takes the things he wants anyway. You can call that giving in. I call it staying alive. At 3, the knob turned. The bolt slid. He didn't even fight the chain this time. It just lifted out and fell straight. He came in like he owned the space. The helmet first, tags ticking, shoulders square. He moved with purpose. No lunge. No snarl. I could hear the cloth of his sleeves brush the frame. I stood up and he was on me in 3 steps. His hand found my throat. Gloves, hard seam against my jaw. Cold. Heavy. He pinned me to the wall like that's how the wall was built. He smelled like oil and cold metal. He weighed as much as 2 men, but he didn't breathe hard. I hit him. I hit the helmet with my fist. It rang my hand like a door. I kicked and my heel slid in mud. He didn't flinch. He drove me down on count 4. Not on 3. Not on 5. 4. I said 1, and he paused. It wasn't much. It was a quarter beat, but it was there. I said 2, and he pressed my cheek into the floor. On 3, I turned my head the other way. On 4, he let my throat go and grabbed my wrist. It was like working a set. You mess up, you pay. You don't mess up, you still pay, but you breathe. He flipped me and put his knee on my chest. I saw the under edge of the helmet then. It was dark and wrong. Not a face. Just smooth. I wanted to pull the tags off him. I don't know why. Reflex. I reached and got them in my hand. They were warm where they hit his chest. The chain bit my fingers. I pulled and the chain snapped. It sliced my palm and I tasted blood. I looked at the letters while he leaned and pushed on my sternum slow, in the same count, like compressions. The name on the tag stared up at me. My father's. My last name. I knew how the letters felt before I read them. It hit so hard my chest went hollow. This was not random. I had dragged this back to me the day I took the chain off that ring and handed it to another man for $40. I brought him to my door. Don't tell me I didn't. You don't have to. He took the tag back without grabbing the chain. It slid from my hand like he peeled it. He put it to his chest without touching it. He stood up on 8. He always stands on 8. I lay there and counted and didn't screw up. He went to the door and looked back. At least, the helmet pointed. He didn't have eyes, but I felt where they would be. He looked at the boots. He looked at the ration. He picked up the ration and tucked it under his vest like I had done with it earlier without thinking. And no, I had not done it. I know I didn't. He set the boots heel to heel. He waited for me to move. So I moved. I pushed myself up on 1. I stood on 2. I took 1 step on 3 and pointed at the bedroom on 4. He went down the hall in perfect steps. He didn't look in the mirrors. He didn't look at me. He turned at the door and sat on the chair like a ghost can't do, but he did. He sat clean. He set the ration on the table. He put his hands on his knees and he stared at the blank TV where his face would have been if he had one. I got in the bed and lay stiff and counted my heart. I kept to the odd numbers. I kept my breathing on the even. When I kept the count, he didn't touch me. I slept. It was the first sleep in weeks that had a bottom to it. When I messed up, when I woke and gasped on 4, His tags hit the headboard in warning and I reset. By morning, he was gone. The chair was square. The boots were still by the door. The floor was ruined with mud and perfect tracks. My radio was dead. My throat hurt. My palm stung where the chain cut me. The cut was a neat line. I washed it and the water looked gray. I didn't move again. There's nowhere else to go that isn't a door with a lock. I learned the rules, and the rules work. He comes at 3. I leave a ration by the jam. I put the boots out, heels together. If I sit up before 4, he hits me. If I keep count and sleep on the odds, he leaves me alone. When I forget and breathe wrong, the tags tap the door and remind me. I don't go out at night. I don't talk to the guy on the bench. I clean the mud with a mop and it doesn't come up. That's fine. I can step around it. Don't tell me to get help. Don't tell me it isn't happening. You weren't here when the chain cut my hand. You don't smell the oil every day, even in your coffee. I didn't ask for this. I didn't. I'm doing what keeps me alive. I set the boots. I leave the meal. I count. He stands by the window now, some nights, like he's watching for orders. He waits until I hit 7, and then he moves to the door. He never looks back. He can't. When I tried to block the window, he stood closer. When I tried to take the tags again, he put my head to the wall on 4 and held it there until I could say I was wrong, even if I wasn't. So I am quiet. I breathe on the odds. I make the count. It works. I'm not crazy. This is what it is. I'm telling you because maybe you hear it too sometimes and think it's the pipes. It's not the pipes. It never was. It's him, or it's the job, and you'll learn it like I did. Right now he's at the glass. It's 3. The room smells like oil and wet wool. It's fine. I know the rules. I'm going to close my eyes and say 1, and when I hit 4, he'll tap to let me know he heard me, and I'll sleep. The dog tags tap the window in perfect cadence. Don't just sit there. Subscribe. Hit like. That's how you show me you're still out there. Do it now, before the next story starts without you. See you in the next one.